This is Krista. Welcome back to Made to Be Whole. Stay tuned for our riveting discussion with me about body image.
Made to Be Whole is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to replace the advice or care of a licensed healthcare professional. Participating in this podcast does not constitute a provider-patient relationship with Krista Michener, AHP Integrative Health, or any of the guests featured on Made to Be Whole. Krista Michener, AHP Integrative Health, and any featured guests aren't responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from use of information obtained in this podcast or associated materials. Please consult a healthcare professional for any health-related concerns that you are experiencing.
Okay, welcome back. So this podcast is based on something I heard 15 years ago. It was from an address given at Brigham Young University, Idaho in May 2009 from David Bednar. And I remember this phrase because it just grabbed me and sent me into a lot of introspection. And he talked about worshiping the false idol of body image. And it absolutely grabbed me. I think the initial grab was because I, as a teenager, like unfortunately a lot of people struggled for a long time with eating disorders. But then even once those were gone, that eating disorder mentality is really, really hard to shake. I call it post-traumatic eating disorder, where the behaviors may be gone, but it's really much more challenging to change the narrative about food and about your body. And there is so much influence and power directed at getting us to be preoccupied with our bodies, to be dissatisfied with our bodies, to change our bodies. And you'll hear people talking about how they wish they didn't have a body. They can't wait till this life's over and they don't have this body anymore. But our bodies absolutely are gifts. If you go back to the beginnings of this podcast and its name, Made to Be Whole, it's based on this scriptural idea that the spirit and the body constitute our soul and that we were made to be whole. And David Bednar makes the point that the body and the spirit are in reality our identity. They are our reality and they are our identity. When they're inseparably connected, we can receive a fullness of joy. And when they're separated, we can't. Think about the best memories and experiences that you've had in life and imagine having them without a physical body. And I think wouldn't be the best experiences of your life. You wouldn't taste delicious food. You wouldn't be able to hug the people that you hug and love. You wouldn't have affection. You wouldn't hear or be able to make music or create art or all these things that bring us joy. Even things that feel spiritual are really physical and spiritual experiences. He makes the point that our bodies make possible a breadth, a depth, and an intensity of experience that simply could not be attained without them, with a spirit that wasn't housed in a body. And he quotes Boyd K. Packer, who has passed on, but he said, "Our spirit and our body are combined in such a way that our body becomes an instrument of our mind and the foundation of our character." So if you think of all of the things that you develop, your character because of physical experiences, including the really difficult physical experiences. So I think it's really a challenge when you have chronic pain, when you have mental health issues, when you have any sort of physical challenge, to hate your body and wish you didn't have your body. And sometimes, I hear myself say to myself, I just hate myself. I hate my body. And I've tried to retrain myself to say, what is it that I really hate? I hate the way I feel right now. I hate the fact that I'm limited because of pain. I hate this portion of this experience, but I don't really hate my body. And when his phrase that I referred to at the beginning, the false idol of body image, really, really grabbed me, because I think that can take many forms. If you think about in the Judeo-Christian tradition, the 10 Commandments, having no other gods before God, not worshiping idols. Most of us don't have golden calves out there tempting us, but I think that there are many things that can tempt people to minimalize the importance of their relationships, of integrity, of things of eternal significance that really matter, because they're chasing something that really, really doesn't exist. And the perfect body definitely falls into that category. Now, that can mean different things to different people. For some people, they're worshiping the false idol of a healthy body. Now, do we all want health, and should we strive for health and try to improve our health? Yeah, absolutely. But if you're selling yourself this, well, I would be happy if I can just get rid of this infection or this illness, then I can be happy. In reality, you may be happier and some of your challenges will be gone, but your happiness really, really has less to do with your circumstances than you realize. Even though circumstances can be challenging, you can become so obsessed with what other people have, or in reality, I think what you perceive other people have, that you miss what's right in front of you. If you imagine that everyone who doesn't have Lyme disease or Bartonella or MCAS or rheumatoid arthritis or cancer or any other of things is happy and their problems really aren't that hard, you're sorely mistaken. I really think there's a parable I remember my sister-in-law telling me once years ago, and forgive me if I get the details wrong, but she said, there was this parable. Basically, if you told everyone to take their shoes and throw them in the middle of the room, and that they could take any pair of shoes they wanted back as their own, most people would choose their own shoes, even if they were fancier and other shoes. They're not going to fit. They're not going to suit their purposes. They're not going to have been adapted for them. And I think our challenges can become that way. We become suited for our challenges, and envying other people's health is not going to get you anywhere. Same thing with envying people's body size. That's the much more obvious application of this. I am not a super sympathetic person when it comes to people who are obsessed with their weight. I think partly because I spent years obsessed with my weight and I was not happier. I'm much chubbier now, and my BMI is, I used to be first class obese. I might be second class obese now. I don't really keep up anymore. There's two different categories. My husband and I used to joke like, well, we're obese, but we're first class obese because we were in that class 1 obesity. But I will tell you, when I was much thinner and when I was healthier, air quotes here, by the world standards, because of my BMI, because I was a runner then and doing those things, I would not take that life back for anything, because I was very deeply unhappy with my body and who I was, and it wasn't a good life. I wouldn't take that back. If you said, hey, you can have the body you had back then, but you've got to go back to where you were mentally and emotionally, I wouldn't. I would gladly stay here in my plus size universe. Now, obviously, are there health concerns with weight? Absolutely. I remember trying to broach this subject with someone else. It was in a church setting years ago, and I was really excited about it because I thought, oh, other women are going to love this, the false idol of body image. And why is that not good? Why is that not pleasing to God? And I still remember this one dear woman saying, well, I don't think it's pleasing to the Lord when we're obese. And I thought, did you really just say that aloud? Methinks thou hast misplaced thy priorities. Certainly weight can be a barrier to some things, but the scale that we talk about is so absurd. The idea that if you just lose 5 or 10 pounds, all your problems will be better and then you'll be happy with yourself, or if you could just get back to the weight you were when you were 20, I think it's misguided. I think that all of us want to do whatever we can to improve our health. We want to be able to be more active and move more. And if you're able to find a healthy way to shed some weight and that enables you to be more active, that's fantastic. But But the weight, the number isn't the goal, it's the function that's the goal. I have one example of this, how I think a lot of how we feel about our bodies is more to do with perception than reality. I've noticed with my own body, how I feel about it is so directly tied to the levels of inflammation that I can have time if I'm in a flare with one of these infections, especially if I've got a lot of vascular inflammation and my legs feel very heavy. It would be easy to misinterpret that and say, "Oh, my legs feel so heavy. I'm so fat. I just need to lose weight. Then I'll feel better. I mean, my legs are like logs. I'm just so fat, blah, blah, blah." When in reality, 2 days before, I felt fine and I was the same weight, and if I give it another week and do all the things I need to do, my legs aren't gonna be heavy anymore, and the numbers on the scale won't have changed. Now, the things that help that take a lot of effort. For me, exercising multiple times a day for short periods really helps control inflammation. That takes a lot of effort. My routine that I've shared with you before of using my sauna and my foot bath and my vibration plate and my yoga and doing ibuprofen and doing things to help blood flow takes a lot of time and a lot of money, but they are the things that enabled me to function and help me to feel better. And that's not misplaced, because the goal is improved function and improved quality of life so that I can enjoy my life and take care of my patients and my family and the things that are most important. One thing that can help us, well, hinder us, because it helps aid this like detachment, body dysmorphia sort of trap that people get caught in, is excessive time spent online. So the addicting effect, David Bednar says, of excessive video gaming and online socializing. I do not think video games are evil. I do not think online socializing is evil. I have no problem with those things, but it's when stuff is in excess and we aren't interacting with people in real life that we can go down a real rabbit hole. He actually quotes an article that was really, really fascinating, talked about this couple who, well, this woman had fallen into a relationship, an intense romantic relationship, with a cyberspace boyfriend. And that person was obviously misrepresenting themselves online. But he just says, note how the medium of communication minimized the importance of the physical body. So this man's screen name, the man in the relationship, was PF Slider. And the woman interviewed says, and so PF Slider became my everyday life. All the tangible stuff fell away. My body did not exist. I had no skin, no hair, no bones. All desire had converted itself into a cerebral current that reached nothing but my frontal lobe. There was no outdoors, no social life, no weather. There was only the computer screen and the phone, my chair, and maybe a glass of water. And that I thought was super, super interesting. So when you look at that, how can this apply to someone who may not be tempted to go online to find and develop deep relationships? You say, well, that's fine, but I would never do that. I love my husband. I love my wife. I love my kids. I'm not that stupid. But maybe, do you spend so much time in online forums about Lyme disease, or insert another condition or illness or challenge, that becomes your identity? I really, really warn against your primary identity being your illness. Even if that illness seems to consume most of your life and energy, you are not a limey, as I hear some people call themselves. You are Krista. You are whatever your name is. You are that person. Your primary identity needs to be something that's completely separate from your illness. And you need to, even though that illness will take up large portions of your life, you need to develop those other portions of who you are so that you can heal. And you need to look to associate not just with people who are going through the same thing. I think it's a interesting balance, because we do have like you need support. It's very isolating to have, and I always default to say Lyme, but when I say Lyme, I'm also talking about other vector-borne infections, other chronic illnesses, health conditions that have dismantled your life. Um, it's really good to connect with other people who are living that so you don't feel as isolated. It's really bad to only connect with people who are living that because you get a very skewed view of the world. You need to find other ways to interact with society, other ways to serve and engage with humans, because that is going to keep you grounded and help you heal. It's really good to be around other people who have problems that you don't have because it gives you gratitude and perspective. It's really, really great to find ways to serve others and make a difference so that you feel whole. Focusing on your brokenness is not going to facilitate wholeness. You really, really can't make that your super focus. You have to acknowledge it. You have to treat it. So ways to avoid getting sucked into falling at the altar of the false idol of body image is to, first of all, where are you getting your information? What are you consuming as far as the people you talk to, the people you follow on social media, the music you listen to, the things you watch, the books you read? You really have to remove from your diet things that poison your mind and your view of yourself. If there are certain relationships that you leave interactions and feel bad about yourself and feel bad about your body, I don't think those relationships are worth your time. If you watch certain TV shows or listen to or read certain things and you leave those things always feeling like you aren't enough, that's a good sign that that's something that should be cut out of your life. Just like our physical diets should be built on things that are nourishing. Not that we don't have our occasional treat. You primarily want to take things into your body that nourish your body and help it to be whole and withstand illness and injury and things that will happen, help you enjoy life. You really want to take nourishing things into your mind and your spirit too. And I think it's silly for me to make a list of things that are good or bad to read or watch because we're all affected differently. Like my husband and I, there are things that we both enjoy watching, but there are things that don't bother him at all that I really, I just think, ugh, I don't want to watch this. This is not uplifting. This is not enjoyable. This leaves me feeling not happy about the world. But then I've drug him to things before, like a musical we went to see that he's like, that was absolute trash. I can't believe you made me watch that. I'm like, well, I liked this part and that part. It didn't affect me the same way. So don't worry so much about what other people say you should read or watch or listen to, but discern, how are these things affecting you? Do they make you more critical of yourself, or do they just make you want to improve? Do they make you more judgmental of other people, or do they make you more inclusive? Do they narrow your view of the world, or do they broaden it? Do they help you accept accountability and change, or do they lead you just to play the blame game? You know, there are a lot of different metrics, but I think just like where it talks in the Bible about by your fruits you shall know them, judging something by its fruits. That's how you judge whether or not something or some relationship is worth its time. What are the fruits in your life? Not, is it hard? Yeah, life's hard. Family's hard. Relationships are hard. But if something is consistently dragging you to a difficult place mentally or spiritually, and it's not something that's worth sticking with and repairing, like, you know, a parent-child relationship, maybe some of those things, then you can let it go. Let go of your social media follow. If there are relationships that are important for you, that are difficult, talk to someone about it. Preferably the person who's in that relationship. I think that there are many, many people who are hurt by others, but have never given the people who've hurt them the chance to apologize or offer an explanation for their behavior, because sometimes we just misinterpret things. And I think that most people, when given the opportunity, like to make things right, like to have that chance. And so give them a chance. Don't be so trendy that you just cut out everything and everyone that is quote unquote toxic without assessing, is it really toxic, or does this just make me uncomfortable, or I'm not willing to do the work? But if something truly is, then with grace, just remove it from your life and focus on the relationships and the input that build you and that make you want to be a better person. I know with reading, that's a good example for me. I'm not much of a TV person. I do really like to read. And I've just noticed sometimes I pick up a book and you get so engrossed in it and you leave the book wanting to be a better person or feeling very proud to be a woman or to be a member of this community or this profession, or wanting to treat people better. And those are the sorts of things you want to find. You want to seek after the things that are good and encourage you to do good and to feel good. And I think if we circle back to my crazy theme that I started with, this false idol of body image, we build those idols by what we consume. So be careful with what you consume, and look for and search and pray for and ask questions, things that are going to build you up, that are going to build you up, not in a pride, like false security sense, but help you to build yourself and encourage you to be a better person who loves and enjoys the body you're in, even if it's not perfect, because guess what? It's not. Nobody's is. We compare ourselves so much to images of other bodies that are computer generated or manipulated, and then beat ourselves up for not looking like something that's actually not real. Look at the bodies around you. They're so diverse, and I think it's amazing. I love it that we all look different. I've mentioned before, one of my favorite things about traveling is sitting in the airport, looking at all the people, imagining their stories, and just thinking, like, God made and knows every one of these people, and he loves them all, and he knows their story. And how amazing is it that we get to be part of this world? Don't fall into the trap of all of your interaction being on social media, where you can be, a keyboard warrior and say and do things that you would never say and do to someone's face, because you can make so many assumptions about others, and people can make so many assumptions about you based on a misinterpreted post or reaction. Check your favorite sites or whatever, whatever makes you feel happy, but then find ways to interact in the real world. And don't focus on your brokenness. Focus on what you can do to be made whole. So remember to always have hope, because you were made to be whole.
Have a podcast question or suggestion? Text or call us on the podcast info line at 330-439-0686. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to be notified when new episodes release. And remember, you were made to be whole.